Okay, hello, welcome to Real Estate Investing with Lathe Lavada here. I'm Lathe Lavada, and if you're tuning in through my personal account, or if you're tuning in to my group, or if you're checking us out on YouTube, we're building that channel out, or iTunes. Welcome, and I'm happy you're here. Today, what I wanted to go over, I wanted to do a training for you on lien, or I'm sorry, I want to do a training for you on holding costs, how to determine holding costs on your transactions and your deals. Now, for either rehabbers or wholesalers, why is that important? Well, it's a component of determining the spread. The spread is all of the cost involved that you need to account for in order to make a profit, either as a wholesaler or a rehabber. So if you don't know the spread of your deal, then you're not going to be able to determine what your profit is. So I'm going to break down these components in future videos and training videos for you, and then I will go ahead and do a total spread video in the future. But for right now, today, I wanted to do a little bit of a deep dive into how to determine holding cost for either wholesale or rehab deals. It's the same thing, but you got to know you've got to know how to do calculate that, because if you don't, then you're not going to have the right purchase price in order to be able to wholesale the deal or make a profit as a rehabber. So you got to know it whichever point you are. Now I'm going to specifically talk about this in regards to single family residences today, whether it's condo or which is a single family. If you get into multifamily and that sort of thing, it's pretty much the same, so that's okay. But I'm talking about specifically the cost of money to hold a property during rehab. So if you're going to flip that property to a rehabber, or if you're looking to make a profit as a rehabber, you got to know what your holding costs are. And so some of this will vary. If you're somebody who does private money, if you're somebody who does institutional funding, or you're somebody that does soft money, if you will, which is essentially hard money, or if you have your own money, these numbers will always vary a little bit. Obviously, if it's your own money, then there is no holding cost, but I would still calculate holding costs into my deal. But if you're a wholesaler, this will help you out, because when you determine the cost of money, then you're able to see what this cost is going to be in order for you to wholesale it and still make a profit. So most rehabbers, I would say, out there are getting their money from somewhere, and a lot of them are getting them from places like a rehab lending, or rehab lending, like bridge loans or something like that, where you get a amount of money to buy the property, and then they'll also give you rehab costs. So there's two parts of what they're lending on there, and they base their lending on what the home will be worth after it's repaired. So it's important to understand that. So if let's say it's worth, let's just use easy numbers, $200,000 after it's remodeled, then what they're going to lend on is usually, it can be anywhere from 65 to 80% of the purchase price, and so they'll give you a loan up to that purchase price of 80%. Now I get loans at 90 and even 100% of acquisition price, as long as the total loan to value, including the rehab cost, is no more than 75% of the ARV, the after repair value. That just means that when we do a percentage of the after repair value, it can't be more than 75%. So let me give you an example of this. So if you've got a property under contract that you want to borrow on, they're not going to give me any more than 75, or let's say 80% of my purchase price. So let's say I've got it a deal that the ARV, the after repair value, is $200,000. 80% of that is $160,000. So that just means that they would lend up to 160,000 of, well, I'm sorry, of my purchase price. Let's say my purchase price was 100,000 and the after repair value is 200,000. They would give me 80% of 100,000. Okay, so 80% of 100,000 is $80,000. That's what they would give me to buy that property. Now, I'm at 100%, so they would give me 100,000. But most lenders are only going to go up to somewhere around 80%. So if you're calculating this out to determine your holding cost to make your offer as part of your cost, then you got to know that. Now, I would just calculate it out. Most good investors are going to get an 80% loan on $100,000. If that's the case, then you've also got to calculate out what the rehab costs. If the rehab costs are $40,000, for instance, and most of these lenders out there will give you 100% of that. So if 100% is $40,000, then that's plus the $80,000, that's a $120,000 loan that they'll give you. Now, they won't give you more than usually 75% of the ARV. So on $200,000, that's going to be about that's going to be $30,000, right? So 75%, let me use my calculator, 75%, 0.75 times 200,000, if that's the after repair value, would be 150. Excuse me. So 150. So they won't lend more than 150,000. So if I'm buying that for 100,000, they're giving me 80,000 plus another 40,000 for the rehab. That's 120. That fits within the criteria of what they'll lend on. So if you know that, then you know that usually, let's say that the interest you're going to pay on that is, let's say, 2 points and 12% a year. If that's the case, and you know that most lenders are going to get 120,000 on a deal like that, for instance, at 2 points of that is $2,400 plus another 12%. Now, if the average flip time is 6 months, that's 6% for the entire year plus 2 points. So that's 8%. So 0.08 times 120,000 is $9,600. That's the cost. That's the holding cost for most rehabbers, let's say. If you use this calculation and this number and the way that I just showed you to build into the cost, to build into your spread, and as a part of a cost of how to estimate how you're gonna make your offers, then you're never going to have a problem being too high with your purchase prices. Now, I know there's a lot of formulas out there at 70% times purchase price minus rehab, and that's the offer that you make on the property. I know that exists, and that's fine. You can use that, but you got to dial it in a little bit better because you could lose deals. Like back east, they all use that formula, 70% times purchase price minus rehab, that's your offer price. And that will get you close. But on some deals, you'll lose out if you just use that deal. So the better you get at calculating these individual components of a purchase of a purchase and determining your spread, the better off you'll be because the more competitive you'll be in the marketplace. So when one guy's making this offer, 70% times purchase price minus $40,000 in rehab, while one guy's making that offer, you might be able to make a better offer of $10,000 more and go ahead and get that deal. So the better you understand the components of the spread, in the spread are all the costs that you need to pay in order for this to be a deal. And one of those costs, again, is this holding cost. And that's just how much the person has to spend to pay to get a loan on that property in order to do a deal. And so that's what I just went through with you. So, and there's a few terms you have to know. After repair value. And then you have to know maximum of the LTV of the ARV, which is the loan to value of the after repair value. And so that includes, for rehabbers, that includes the purchase price, and that includes the rehab costs. If you know what that is, and I just showed you how to get to that number, then you'll know how much they're roughly spending for rehab or for holding costs. So again, if you're buying a property for $100,000 and you're getting a loan for 80% of that, that's $80,000. If the rehab costs are $40,000, that's $120,000. If you know you're paying 1% interest a month, which is 12% annually, okay, and they're going to hold it for 6 months in order to buy it, rehab it, and flip it, that's 6 months. Plus, let's say an additional 2%, that's 8%. That's 2 points to do the loan, just straight out of the gate. And then 1% a month, that's 8%, again, 0.08 times 120,000, okay? That's $9,600 to do that deal. So now it's a hard number to back into if you don't know what the purchase price is going to be. So that's why I created a spreadsheet that you can download for free when you get my book for free as well. And it has other tools in there. There is a spreadsheet that you can plug in this number, this holding cost number, and all the other numbers that are included in the spread, and then along with the after repair value, and it will spit out a purchase price. So that's what the spreadsheet is used for. So you can get that by going to LatheLavada.innercircle.com. If you're a part of the group, if you're not, go ahead and join the group. But if you're a part of the group, the link is inside the group, and you can go and download the book. And then you can get instant access to the wholesale tools. And one of those tools inside of that is this spreadsheet where you can plug in all these different numbers. The last video I did was based on, how to determine rehab costs. So rehab costs was one of those numbers. Holding costs is now one of those numbers. And then there's buy cost and there's sell costs. And then there's what the seller owns and what the seller wants, and then what you want to make on it and what the rehabber wants to make on it, which is profit. And then any other liens you got to pay off. So that's and then of course the sales costs, and like I said, and the buy costs. So you've got to learn how to determine those numbers as well. So you can really get down to the nitty gritty on how to determine what the costs are on a transaction. Again, don't let this hold you up on doing a deal or going talking to people. You can always use that rule of thumb number, which is 70% of the after repair value. So if it's 200,000, let's just check that out. If it's 200,000 ARV, like I just showed you, times 0.7% equals 140 minus rehab costs, okay? That gets you to a purchase price of $100,000. So now you know that you could purchase this for $100,000. So but if you're off $5,000 or $10,000, that matters whether or not you're going to be able to do a deal. Maybe you could spend another $5,000 for it. So, but don't let it hold you back. Use that maximum allowable offer is what they call it, and you try to get it a little bit lower than that if you can. But you may be fine to do a deal at $120,000, and that formula may throw off your offer and you may not get the deal because you're trying to go too low for that particular deal. So what I'm sharing with you again today is a component of the spread which you need to learn how to do. We'll do more videos on this, but sounds kind of complicated. Go back over this video, write them out, write out what I said, the formula there, and you'll learn how investors are getting money and how much they're paying for money to do these single-family residential deals and other deals as well. But primarily that's what I'm talking about here today. And what I've showed you is the components, how to figure out how to determine those costs of money for a rehabber to do a deal. Once you get good at figuring out that cost, then you can plug it in to the overall formula on the spreadsheet that you can download for free, along with some other numbers that we'll cover here in the future, and you're going to be better armed to get better deals on your wholesale and rehab deals. Okay, so thanks for watching today. If you haven't joined the free group over there at facebook.com/groups/Lathe Lavada Inner Circle. Go ahead and do that if you're already a member. Great, that's awesome. I'm happy to have you. And then if you haven't gotten the book yet with the free tools and the free training, go ahead and get that at LatheLavadaInnerCircle.com. And love to have you leave comments, like this video, share this video, get it out there. We're trying to grow the group and get more people in here so we can all interact together and do more deals together. And I wish you a lot of success with your real estate wholesaling or rehabbing, investing careers. And if you'd like to schedule a free strategy call, there's a link in my group to do that as well. And I'd love to talk with you and put together a blueprint and a plan for your future success and to kick off your wholesaling or build a bigger, better wholesaling company. And anyway, thanks for watching. Glad to have you, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.